I'm Rod Slasher Brezov of GameSpot, and I'm here with MLG CEO Sundance Giovanni on the second day of the MLG Spring Championships here in Anaheim, California. Sundance, we're in the middle of the second day, and you've gotten to see kind of how many people have been watching online and have come through the door so far this weekend. I was thinking before coming in, this would probably be the largest esports event ever in North America. Has that come true?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has different ways of counting it, but just looking at what we're doing stream-wise and audience-wise, we've crashed our previous records, which actually beat other people's reported records. So I would say that we are already the largest, most watched esports event in North American history. Yeah.
With this would be the online stream?
I'm talking both online streams, which beat our previous record of 350,000 concurrents, as well as the in the room. The tickets that we sold leading into the event were actually record-breaking number of spectator tickets for us, and we have a steady stream of people coming. It's Saturday. There's still another day, so everything is like above and beyond my expectations, which is crazy because I'm usually not satisfied with whatever the numbers are. But so far, so good.
Have you been able to see how many people have come through the door? Maybe some, variable numbers?
Well, we'll get that in the end because it's the gate is both a combination of what's sold online and then what's also sold at the door. So we actually have to do the accounting at the door manually, add it to the digital. But it's already bigger than last year's Anaheim, which was huge for us. So we're really excited, and we're just going to go out there. I'm going to go out door to door knocking and selling tickets to people. Get a special discount if I have to. I want to fill the room.
So to me, on the very first day, my biggest storyline for me, and I am totally shocked and surprised, League of Legends is louder and more hype and seemingly more into it than I've ever seen them before. This is their first event for MLG in 2012. What is your reaction to kind of what they have brought to the MLG events?
Well, the game's got a big online viewership. I mean, it's got a huge install base, and we really pushed with working with Riot. We were going to do it right or not do it right, not do it on site, right? So the 5-man booths have been huge because you can sit there, you can hear the commentators, it adds to the energy. And honestly, the crowd, I think, is just, they're making it known. They're looking over to the left and saying, we want your chairs. It's good to see. I like it. I like the fact that the crowd's passionate. There's a lot of overlap. This is the other thing that was really surprising to me was there were people sitting on the fringe watching, over the Starcraft side, Starcraft people watching the League side, people coming up to me and saying, they're running back and forth, asking me when Team Solo Mid was playing. So it's good. I mean, the thing is that although they're distinct communities, there's overlap, and everybody's here for the same reason, to celebrate their game. So I'm loving it. I was hoping for a successful League event, and so far it's been more than I would have expected, honestly.
With how they've reacted, could that give them even more presence at the Summer Championships?
I don't see why not. I mean, we had a lot of StarCraft activity on the floor here, but again, at the Open, you saw when I did the Open, the StarCraft community there was a distinct. It was healthy. They're cheering. Not that Leagues wasn't, but I think we're going to work with Riot and try and maximize what we do on site, and even what we do between events. We're going to do the League of Legends arena. We're going to try and open that up so as many people can see that as possible. But I want to have, I want every game to be maxed out. I want to need more chairs for everything, and right now it seems like we have 2 really strong titles to work with, which is a great place to be in. And if the fighters can continue to pick up a bit, we'll have 3 sections of the floor that are really generating a lot of excitement, which is all we want.
So this weekend is the debut of the MLG KeSPA partnership, which was announced more than a month and a half ago. We had a very lengthy interview back then, which went online discussing some of the details. But now, how does it feel, and what is your thoughts on it coming to fruition and the tournament happening later tonight?
I think it's a good first step. I mean, obviously we're taking baby steps in terms of getting those guys into the tournament here, but the plans that we have are big. They're big and they're broad, and they involve not just our events here, but the events that KeSPA holds, and they also involve Europe. So to have those players here getting a taste of our event is great. The managers are all here from the teams, the president of KeSPA, and they are blown away by the crowd, by the energy, and just by the general staging. And now, that's a lot to say because you know how big the events are in Korea. but there's a different vibe. This is them getting on a plane, coming over on a global stage, because this to them is a bigger audience than what's just in South Korea. They see that as a global opportunity. So having those KeSPA players here, seeing the crowd react to them, seeing them study the Starcraft II pros has been really, it's been interesting and exciting. And so, so far, they're all getting ready. They're coming up with surprises for the crowd. They see how hyped up the crowd gets when, Koreans do dances or have celebrations. So I think you're going to see a great show. I think they're going to be showmen, and they're going to really go out there and try and put on a top-notch performance for everybody as their first, opportunity to see them playing StarCraft II on North American soil. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be great.
I talked to a bunch of those players, and they all pretty much unanimously said nearly the same thing, that they were blown away by the crowds here and just how passionate the American fans are. It was a lot of the same answers that I got from the Korean StarCraft II pros when they initially came over to MLG the first time. But I haven't really heard much from the KeSPA management on how they feel the crowd and everything has gone. How have they perceived everything so far?
Again, we've been spending some time with them, and they're really excited, because you never know until you come see it, right? Even with people who are here in North America, we tell you have to get to an event. Watching it online doesn't do it justice. So it's opened their eyes, and they are, they're coming up, and they've got big grins on their faces, and they're excited. I think they're even a little nervous, because they're going to be putting on their show, putting their players out there, and there's a lot of talk amongst them in terms of who's going to be the winner, and be able to say that they took home the first place in this thing. So, this is people with a different culture, different background, different approach to things, but with the same vision, the same dream for things. And again, to have them here as our guest, but our partner as well, and to talk about how we can take this and expand it and have them be a part of it more and send some people over their way has been really, it's been interesting, exciting, and fun. And I don't want to get out ahead of myself, but I think once people see where this relationship is going, all the concerns about exclusivity and the concerns about me blocking other folks are going to melt away, because we have really big plans, and we're very closely aligned in our overall goals. And so demystifying them a little bit is going to be one of my little missions, because they are in this because they're passionate about it. And yes, they're an established business and organized in a particular way, but they want more of this, what we bring, to transplant over there. So you can kind of imagine where that might go. You can kind of imagine what that could lead to on a global scale. But we've got some big things in the works, and it's going to be great for the players and the fans.
That was actually kind of my next question. How has this event so far led them to want to bring this over back to Korea, either in the Pro League or in the OGN? How has this whole experience kind of shaped the way that they want to bring the foreign audience back to Korea?
Well, I think there's a number of things. So of course there's KeSPA, there's IEG, and there's OGN, and we've been in talks with all three of those groups during this event about what larger partnerships are going to look like. And the idea is that you don't want to just assume that we're talking about South Korea, right? The world is a big place, and we're going to bring this brand of entertainment wherever there's an audience for it. And so what we're working on is obviously, number one, the direct plugs from league to league, organization to organization, unified rankings, the opportunity for players and teams to have access to training and to coaching, and really building a blueprint where the gap of skill between North America, Europe, and Southeast Asia is reduced, right? So to have an infrastructure here where teams can be structured in a way where they can support the activity at the highest level, right? So in the end, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but that's okay. We all know that. The point now is that we're in a position where the partnership is solidified. The final part of it has been accomplished in terms of getting them here to see it. Now we basically sit down and we start to execute, which is going to be it's going to be exciting and good for everybody.
So Blizzard brought out Heart of the Swarm here to show off, since the first time in a while, since BlizzCon. They're not holding BlizzCon this year, much of which is to put a lot of those resources into the MLG event in Anaheim. I want to know kind of what their reaction has been so far to see all the fans playing Heart of the Swarm, and also more on the tournament level. Should we see Heart of the Swarm at all for the rest of the season, or do we think it's going to be wait until the official release is going to come out?
Well, on the first part, so Blizzard's here. Mike Morhaim's come out. They're doing interviews with a bunch of key people and walking the floor, and just to have the game in the hands of the fans and have people experience it is a very big thing for them, right? So that's good. We are sitting and talking with them about plans for the future as well. We want to be the best partner we possibly can to Blizzard. We want to do things with them and enable them to achieve their goals through the unique brand of entertainment we provide. So I think it's going really well. On the tournament side of things, a lot of them are really excited to see the KeSPA guys playing. When the KeSPA guys were hopping on Heart of the Swarm or even playing off on the side practicing, there's a lot of chatter because these guys have a unique perspective, right? They have the ability to call up someone's profile and see how much they're actually playing and see where they are on the ladder. So they know where these guys actually stand on the Korean ladders and everything. So not that they share that, but in their minds, I think they've already kind of chosen who they think is going to win, and they have their own favorites. But the best part about it is that for tonight, we get to sit back, celebrate their game, and celebrate these players who are legends, and have a great show. So, everyone I've spoken to at Blizzard so far is loving it, and we're talking about ways we're going to work together in the future, not just on StarCraft, but just in general. So it's always good to be close to their headquarters. So a couple hundred of them can come down and have fun with us at one of these things.
So the last time I interviewed you, you were hopeful that by the Summer Championships, those KeSPA players would be playing in the main StarCraft II tournament. Is that still the expected plan?
Well, again, I don't want to speak for anybody else or speak out of turn, but I think that the next stage of this evolution is fairly obvious, and we're going to work through that with them and make sure that they're comfortable with it. And they've got plans for back in South Korea. I think it's pretty obvious to everyone, though it doesn't make a ton of sense to have them playing cross game much longer. There needs to be a focus on one game. So we're going to see how exactly we would do that, what we would do, if there's perhaps a mechanism we could put in place to bring some of those guys over, but the hard part's over. We've got them in the room, and they're going to be playing on our stage, and once they get a taste of that, I think they're going to just want more and more.
So talking to the KeSPA Secretary General, I keep forgetting that title, by the way, I'm sorry. He was saying that there is no real kind of discussion between yourselves and GOM TV and KeSPA yet, but he was hopeful that something could be worked out to try to get those StarCraft II pros working along with them. Do you feel like something might be worked out between all parties moving forward?
I don't see why not. I mean, what it comes down to is it's really, Blizzard is going to indicate to us this weekend more of their intentions, and we'll obviously listen to them. GOM has relationships out there. Obviously, they work with IPL at the moment, but that doesn't mean that that's exclusive. And it's just a question of whether or not, all the parties that have a common interest can get together. I have no problem with working with GOM. I have no problem with GSL at all. Just in the past, some things didn't line up, and we want balance. We view our events as a global event of scale with a tremendous tune-in audience, and we're much stronger now than we were when we did the original deal with them. Between the deal with CBSI and our continued relationship with Blizzard, obviously you say, well, it just makes sense, but we'll see. We're not going to get ourselves into a situation where we're going to do a deal just to do the deal. And so, I'm hoping at least that we get through this event, get a little further along with the KeSPA guys, and figure out a way that, and even OGN, and figure out a way that we want to go back to GOM and GSL and maybe structure something. But if we can't, we can't. I mean, we'll try, and we'll try and make it fair and equitable for everybody. And that's the key, is it's got to work in both directions. If we can do that, then everybody's going to benefit. If we can't, then maybe it's too soon.
So while StarCraft II and League of Legends for the PC side have been blown away here in Anaheim, the fighting games have been rather lackluster. There was some thought that going in California, kind of the home base for a lot of the fighting games, that things would be better. Takedo made his first ever appearance at an MLG event. It's the first time a legendary Japanese fighting game player has been here. But King of Fighters has still been, not a lot of people showed up, and I'm not sure how the online viewership has been. Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat are coming later. But what is the kind of feelings around the fighting games right now, and how are you looking towards the future for them?
I don't know. I mean, we don't have anything planned, out that's written in stone. We have a desire to support that scene, and right now it makes sense and it's exploratory for us, and we're going to take a look at these numbers compared to the last event's numbers. The guys who show up, say all the right things, and the people who are here working with us are very supportive. But again, if I build it and they don't come, then I'm going to stop building it, and it's not a question of, I think, any one game. I think it's a question of being attractive to the overall scene. And, the typical point of view there is that you have to have more of the festival feel and several games and different formats and whatnot. And I understand that, but that's tough for us within our structure to make work at the moment. Doesn't mean that we can't adjust the way we approach it a little bit to do better, but there's nothing to say that, we will execute these, through the next couple of events, but that maybe a shooter comes back and plugs into that space, right? There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out of E3. However, my heart of hearts, since Tekken's what got me into this business in a lot of ways, I'd love to make it work. But again, if I can't, and I'm just banging my head against the wall, then I'll move on. But I've said that before, so who knows?
You just went to E3. You saw Halo 4. You saw Black Ops 2, among another of FPS games. You just mentioned FPS. How do either of those two tickle your fancy? Do you see maybe them coming on the circuit?
Well, I think we've been working with 343 a bit and talking with them. Some of the multiplayer designers are actually here talking to some of our guys at this event. Black Ops, Von der Haar has done a tremendous amount of work internally to get folks aligned around the idea of how good this can be. But again, it goes higher than that. What people don't understand is it's got to get to the level where Activision or Microsoft, and in each of those cases, is actively participating. So, we also saw the new Gears, which I honestly felt like was really interesting, where they took some keys from League of Legends in terms of lane play and just map design and kind of round-based stuff to add a new kind of feel to it. So, we're going to see what makes the most sense, and we're going to always keep our eyes and ears open. I mean, we're looking at PlanetSide and too. We want to try and be in a position where we have a solid title there, and who knows, maybe Counter-Strike at $15 turns into that title, right? But at the end of the day, we're not going to try and build it ourselves. We're going to look for somebody who is vested in and invests in esports and competitive gaming to be that partner, because we think we're finally at a point now where there are enough people lining up to do that we should have some pretty good options.
So lastly, I asked you this before at the last Winter Arena, Spring Arena, and you got it right. And every time I do this DJ Whedon Live on 3, I haven't been getting too many points, but I'm confident I'm going to win this week. So I want to know who is going to win the KeSPA tournament and who is going to win the main Starcraft II tournament this weekend.
All right, well, first, who'd you pick? Because that's who not to pick.
I had Soul Key to come out of nowhere and take KeSPA, okay. And then I had Marine King to kind of continue his dominating fashion.
Okay. I'm going to go just because of the fact that, and it's a long shot pick at this point, but I like Flash actually, because I think he's just in the brief conversation I had, he seems like, I don't know, he just seems like a badass. And I don't know, man, the StarCraft on this side, it's crazy right now with what's happening already. I think Marine King's going to be in a good position, but again, the marathon may not go in his favor. I kind of think that for some reason MC could take it. I really do. Just he's been walking around with a huge grin on his face, and that engagement he was supposed to have that fell through before E3. He had his little rest. He was hanging out, in our booth and everything. So I'm going to go with the odd pick of MC actually cleaning up in the main tournament.
All right, heard it here first. I can't lose to him again. I'm going to kill myself. Thank you, Sundance, for the interview. Everyone check out GameSpot.com for more interviews in the MLG Anaheim Spring Championships.